when a black woman in a sleek blazer walked into the flagship jewelry store she'd built from scratch. The manager took one look at her and assumed she didn't belong. He denied her service. 5 minutes later, after a single phone call, he discovered she was the CEO, and he was fired. What happens next? Let's start the story. The morning sunlight gleamed through the crystal-clear glass of Radiance & Company, a luxury jewelry store in the heart of Manhattan's elite shopping district. Diamonds sparkled behind locked display cases, and the scent of white rose diffusers floated through the air as soft jazz played from ceiling speakers. Every detail of the flagship store had been meticulously crafted: floor-to-ceiling marble, velvet display pedestals, and smiling staff trained to treat every customer like royalty. But none of it prepared them for what would unfold that Tuesday morning at exactly 10:03 a.m. Camilla Russo, CEO and founder of Radiance & Company, had just returned from a whirlwind European tour. She had been in Paris meeting new artisans, in Milan sourcing rare stones, and in Geneva negotiating a partnership with an elite watchmaker. She hadn't visited her Manhattan store in over 2 months. Dressed in a slate gray blazer, dark jeans, and elegant low heels, she stepped through the doors, excited to see how the team had maintained her crown jewel. Her natural curls were pulled into a neat bun, her skin glowing from travel, and in her hand was a leather-bound notebook filled with notes and plans. She had no entourage, no flashy jewelry, and no name tag, only presence and purpose. She smiled as she entered, nodding toward the nearest staff member, who looked up and immediately stiffened. His name was Gregory, the acting manager for the day, a sharply dressed man in his late 30s with slick-back hair, designer shoes, and a practiced grin. But that grin evaporated the moment he saw Camilla. His eyes narrowed, flicking over her like a scanner. "Ma'am," he said, stepping forward, tone clipped. "We're not open to solicitors." Camilla blinked. "Excuse me." "If you're selling something," he said, "I'll have to ask you to leave." She raised an eyebrow. "I'm not selling anything. I'm here to see the store." "For what reason?" he asked, already inching toward the phone at the counter. "We cater to a very specific clientele here. We don't allow walk-ins unless you have a verified appointment or referral." Camilla's voice stayed level, calm but firm. "Is that a written policy?" "It's enforced discretion," he said smugly. "We protect the integrity of the brand." She gave a slow nod. "Interesting. Now," he said, straightening his tie, "if you'd like to leave your name, I can schedule a time for you to return, perhaps next week. Or I can refer you to one of our smaller boutiques. There's one in Brooklyn." He smirked slightly at the last word. She stared at him for a long moment, as if deciding whether to laugh or scream. Instead, she reached into her bag, pulled out her phone, and made a call. "Hi, this is Camilla. Could you have security hold all customer entry at the flagship for the next 30 minutes? I'm inside, and we'll need to make some adjustments." Gregory's eyes widened, his face paling. "Wait, did you say Camilla?" She ended the call and looked him square in the eye. "Camilla Russo, founder, chief executive officer. I built this store from the ground up. You just denied service to the woman who signs your paychecks." His mouth opened, but no sound came. Around them, other employees peeked nervously from behind display counters. The room felt as if it had been frozen mid-breath. "Ms. Russo," Gregory stammered. I didn't recognize you." "That much is clear," she interrupted. "You made a judgment based on nothing but my skin and my clothes. You didn't greet me. You didn't ask for ID. You assumed. I was just trying to protect the brand," he insisted. "From the woman who created it?" she asked, voice rising now, heat behind every syllable. "You thought I didn't belong in my own space. Do you know how many nights I spent in this very room perfecting lighting angles? How many designs I sketched at 2 a.m. to make sure we had an original winter collection? How many interviews I gave to ensure Radiance wasn't just another jewelry label, but a legacy of excellence that welcomes everyone?" Gregory was sweating now, visibly shrinking. "Please, Ms. Russo, if you'll just allow me to explain." "No need." She pulled out a sleek folder from her bag and handed it to the stunned assistant standing nearby. "Effective immediately, Gregory Lang is relieved of all duties at Radiance and Company. He is to be escorted out of the building after he collects his personal items. HR will handle the rest. The assistant nodded, eyes wide. Gregory stood frozen, mouth slack. "This is a mistake," he said weakly. "The only mistake," Camilla said, "was letting someone like you represent my brand." Within minutes, Gregory was gone, escorted quietly through the back. Camilla remained, walking slowly through the store, greeting the staff she hadn't seen in months. She sat down with the junior team, listened to their concerns, and took notes. When customers began lining up outside, she greeted each one personally, reminding everyone that at Radiance, beauty was never defined by assumptions. That evening, she released a company-wide memo. Radiance and Company exists to celebrate elegance, confidence, and authenticity, values we embody from the top down. Anyone who cannot reflect these values in word and action has no place here. We are not just a brand. We are a standard. The story made headlines, not because the CEO fired someone, but because a woman who had every right to scream chose instead to lead with conviction, composure, and consequence. Camilla Rousseau didn't need a crown to prove her power. She had something stronger, grace with teeth. And the world watched in awe as a woman denied service in her own store reminded everyone who really owns the room.